an exhibition created by the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. You are about to hear the words of American men and women of the U.S. military who encountered the Nazi concentration camps at the end of World War II, as well as those of Holocaust survivors who were liberated by U.S. troops. In the last days of the war, the SS evacuated prisoners from Buchenwald to Dachau by train. Many of the nearly 4,500 prisoners died on that several-week journey. Hilbert Margol describes how he and his twin brother Howard came across the so-called death train at Dachau. This is his recollection.
We get orders to pull off to the right side of the road. We all smell this very distinct odor, very strong odor. One of our Jeep drivers came by and he said, on the other side of those woods, there must be a chemical factory over there. Well, Howard heard that, and he came over to me, and he said, I don't think it's a chemical factory. And he said, you know, that odor reminded him when our mother used to go to the kosher meat market to buy a freshly killed chicken. She would take it home, hold it over the gas flame of the gas stove in the kitchen to burn off the pin feathers. It would burn the skin and some of the fat of the chicken. He said, that's the odor that reminds him of. I said, well, why don't we go over there and see what is over there? We were curious. The first thing we saw a line of railroad boxcars. Now, we climbed over between two of the railroad cars, and on the other side, some of the cars, the sliding doors had been opened by the infantry guys in front of us. That's who we supported. And that boxcar plus others on that train was dead bodies, and most of them were in very grotesque positions. And of course, it was easy to see they were all dead.
Gina Rappaport was liberated by the U.S. Army in April 1945 after spending 2 years in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in Germany. After her liberation, she wrote down her story. This is an excerpt of what she wrote. After 2 years' stay, the SS told us to pack our things and go to the station, and they put us on a train which traveled for an unknown destination. We were 7 days in the train, traveling very slowly, when we were liberated by the American Army on the 13th of April. It was the luckiest day of my life. At that moment, I was bathing in the river when I saw the first American soldier from afar. What a joy. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was sure it was a dream, but still, it was true. A few minutes before the American soldiers arrived, we were told that we should have to go on foot over the Elbe River, but the American Army saved us from a sure death, which we will never forget. I was also sad this day because I remembered how many people of value had died and couldn't see the liberation and the fall of the barbarian Hitler. I shall never forget what I owe the American Army. I hope that I'll be able to estimate the right value what the Americans have done for us. Now, after 5 years of suffering, I shall know how to appreciate the more my liberty. In April 1945, Leon Bass entered the Buchenwald concentration camp in Germany as part of an intelligence reconnaissance unit. This is his recollection.
We were in the intelligence reconnaissance section of our unit, and we went right to Buchenwald. And that was the day that I was to discover what had really been going on in Europe under the Nazis. Because I walked through the gates, and I saw walking dead people. And just looking at these people who were skin and bone, and dressed in those pajama-type uniforms, their heads clean shaved, and filled with sores due to malnutrition. I just looked at this in amazement, and I said to myself, my God, who are these people? What was their crime? It's hard for me to try to understand why anybody could have been treated this way. I don't care what they had done. And I didn't have any way of thinking, or putting a handle on it. No frame of reference. I was only 20. Had I been told, I doubt if I could have had, in my mind's eye, envisioned anything as horrible as what I saw.